Nanny, the mountain speaks her name. There are names in history that rise like smoke from ancient fires, names you hear long before you understand them. Nanny of the Maroons is one of those names, a name that hums in the forests, echoes between the blue mountains, and lingers in the breath of every Jamaican who has ever felt the pull of freedom. She is not merely a figure in textbooks. She is not a myth you memorize for exams. She is energy, she is defiance. She is the heartbeat of rebellion. To speak of Nanny is to speak of a spirit that refused to be broken. Before Jamaica, before the mountains, before the wars. Nanny was a child of Ghanaian, Ashanti girl raised in a world where queens led armies and warriors walked with the guidance of their ancestors. Her bloodline carried courage like a birthright, but the violent pull of the transatlantic slave trade tore her from her homeland, dragging her into a darkness meant to erase everything she knew. But Nanny was not built for silence. She was not shaped for obedience. She was not designed to kneel. When she reached Jamaica, she slipped into the mountains, the one place the British feared. Among escaped Africans, she found not only refuge, but purpose. In the hidden valleys and thick forests, she rose as a leader among the Windward Maroons, a free community carved out of danger and determination. History tells us she was a general. Legend tells us she was a prophet. The truth is that she was both. Nanny understood the land better than any map the British could draw. The mountains were her shield, the forests, her camouflage. The riverbanks whispered warnings only she could hear. Under her leadership, the Maroons moved like shadows, silent, strategic, and unstoppable. She was a master of guerrilla warfare long before textbooks gave it a name. Ambushes, decoys, disappearing acts that left British soldiers confused, terrified, and defeated. They had guns, numbers, and resources. But Nanny had something the Empire couldn't understand, a cause worth dying for, and a people worth living for. And then there are the stories. Stories the British dismissed as superstition, but the Maroons held as truth. They say Nanny could catch bullets. They say the ancestors spoke to her in dreams. They say she could see danger before it arrived. Whether those stories were literal or metaphorical is irrelevant because her enemies believed them. Fear was her weapon too. But beyond the battlefield, Nanny was a mother to her people. When her soldiers starved, she planted pumpkins in secret valleys. When her people mourned, she offered rituals to keep their spirits alive. For Nanny, freedom was not just about fighting. It was about surviving, growing, building a nation that could stand on its own. Yet, the war came at a price. Years of resistance forced the British onto their knees. They could not defeat her. They could not outthink her. They could not outfight her. And so, they sought peace. But peace with conditions is not peace at all. The treaties that followed the Maroon Wars offered land and freedom, but demanded the return of runaway enslaved Africans. To the plantations, they risked everything to escape. Many leaders signed under pressure, torn between survival and principle. Nanny did not. She refused to betray the very people she fought to protect. She stood firm, even when compromise promised comfort. She believed no one had the right to negotiate another person's freedom. And so, she remains in Jamaican history not just as a warrior, but as a moral compass, a woman who would not bend even when the world pushed. Her final years are shrouded in mystery, and perhaps they should be. Legends are not meant to be neatly boxed into dates and time. What matters is what she left behind. A blueprint for resistance. A legacy of courage. A reminder that freedom requires guardians, people willing to plant seeds in impossible soil and trust that future. Generations will harvest the reward. Today, Nanny is a national hero of Jamaica, but she is also something greater. She is a symbol for the oppressed, a whisper for the forgotten, a reminder that mountains may be climbed, but they also protect. When Jamaicans say her name, it is not just history they speak. It is gratitude, because Nanny didn't just fight for Maroons. She fought for every Jamaican child who would grow up with a spine strengthened by pride. She fought for every descendant who refuses to accept chains, whether physical, mental, or spiritual. She fought for a nation that still stands today because she refused to fall. Nanny of the Maroons is not gone. She is in the drumbeat, dot in the firelight, in the wind that sweeps through the blue mountains, carrying her story. A queen, a warrior, a mother, a legend. And legends do not die. They echo forever.